Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Today again in statistical inference first course, our topic is relating to the estimation, and we are viewing the consistent estimators, and the very important property or the theorem relating to the consistent estimator is Kramer-Orr inequality. So we will discuss this in the class, its proof and the examples relating to it. Then we today also discuss the Bhattacharya bound, and then try to see the sufficient estimation in our lecture third or lecture 3. In estimation theory and statistics, the Kramer-Orr bond CRB expresses a lower bound on the variance of unbiased estimators of a discriminant fixed through unknown parameters, starting that the variance of any such estimator is at least as high as the inverse of the Fisher information. The result is named in the honor of Kramer-Orr and C.R. Rao, but has independently also been derived by George and Alexander and Silverstone and many other statisticians. An unbiased estimator which achieves this lower bound is said to be fully efficient. Such a solution achieves the lowest possible mean square error among all unbiased methods and is therefore the minimum variance unbiased MVU estimator. However, in some cases, no unbiased technique exists which achieves the bound. This may occur either if for any unbiased estimator, there exists another with a strictly smaller variance, or if an minimum variance unbiased estimator exists, but its variance is strictly greater than the invariance of the Fisher information. The Kramer-Orr bond can also be used to bound the variance of biased estimators of given bias. In some cases, a biased approach can result in both a variance and a mean square error that are below the unbiased Kramer-Orr lower bound. So the statement of the Kramer-Orr inequality is that the Kramer-Orr bond is stated in this way for several increasingly general cases, being with the case in which the parameter is a scalar and its estimator is unbiased. So we suppose that, first we suppose that theta is some unknown discriminant parameter, which is to be estimated from an independent observations, measurements of x, each from a distribution according to some probability density function, say f of x theta. The variance of the unbiased estimator theta hat of theta is then bounded by the reciprocal of the Fisher information I theta. And variance of theta greater than or equal to 1 over I theta So we try to find out the I of theta, and then we find out with the help of natural logarithm of the likelihood function for a single sample x, and denote the expected value with respect to the density f of x theta of x. And if likelihood function of x of theta is twice differentiable and certain regularity conditions hold, then the Fisher information can also be defined as I of theta is equal to minus n expected of theta, partial derivative, second partially derivative of maximum likelihood function. And then the efficiency of unbiased estimator theta hat measures how close this estimator variance comes to this lower bound estimator Efficiency is then defined I of theta inverse over variance of theta, or the minimum possible variance for any unbiased estimator divided by its actual variance. The Craméron lower bound is thus given by expected of theta hat is less than or equal to 1. So this is the proof of the inequality, and in class we will see how we can prove this inequality, and also we will see some examples relating to this exercise. We first consider estimating the parameter of an exponential population based on a sample of size m is equal to 2 n plus 1. This population has then the density, and we will also see some other examples relating to the Craméron inequality. There is also the situation when we can interchange the integration and differentiation process. We can prove this theorem by using the other strategy. Then inequality, Cauchy inequality is also related with this Craméron inequality. So we will see also this topic. Exponential density of the random variable x with parameter theta and values x has density f of x theta. We will also see its proof and some examples relating to it when the Craméron inequality provides no information. So the situation is also like this. So we will discuss the situation and then some lemma relating to this Craméron inequality topic. We have the other theorem relating to the consistent estimator is the Bhattacharya bound. So let's see about the Bhattacharya bound. For the Bhattacharya bound, I have selected a research paper for the introduction of it. In the research paper, they used the Craméron inequality and the Bhattacharya bound to find out the consistent estimators. A family of distributions for which an unbiased estimator of a function g of theta of a real parameter theta can attain the second order Bhattacharya lower bound is derived. So indeed, we obtain a necessary and sufficient condition for the attainment of the second order Bhattacharya bound for a family of mixtures of distributions which belong to the exponential family. Furthermore, we give an example which does not satisfy this condition, but where the Bhattacharya bound is attainable for a non-exponential family of distributions. So in estimation of a function g of theta of a real parameter theta, the Bhattacharya bounds for the variance of an unbiased estimator are known as generalization of Craméron bound. So a necessary and sufficient condition for the attainment of the Craméron lower bound is that the density of the unbiased estimator g hat of g of theta be of exponential type. So if an unbiased estimator g hat is a polynomial of degree k of the minimal sufficient statistic is an exponential family, and if its variance does not attain the Bhattacharya lower bounds up to the k minus 1th order, then it attains the kth order bound. However, a family of distribution for which the Bhattacharya bound can be attained seems to be little unknown. So we will consider a family of distribution for which the second order Bhattacharya bound becomes sharp. A necessary and sufficient condition for the second order Bhattacharya bound to the sharp is given for a family of linear combination of distribution which belongs to the exponential family. So in statistics, the Bhattacharya distance measures the similarity of two probability distribution. It is closely related to the Bhattacharya coefficient, which is a measure of the amount of overlap between two statistical samples or population. Both Mayers are named after Anil Kumar Bhattacharya, a statistician who worked in 1930s at the Indian Statistical Institute. He has developed the method to measure the distance between two non-normal distributions and illustrated this with the classical multinomial population, as well as the probability distributions that are absolutely continuous with respect to the Lapgis Mayers. They later work appeared partly in the Bulletin of the Calcutta Mathematical Society, while the former part is spite of being submitted for publication. The coefficient in the Bhattacharya bound, the coefficient can be used to determine the relative closeness of the two samples being considered. It is used to measure the separability of classes in classification, and it is considered to be more reliable than the Malbonese distances. As the Malbonese distance formula is the particular case of the Bhattacharya distance when the standard deviation of two samples are the same. Consequently, when two samples have similar means but different standard deviation, the distance formula tend to 0, whereas the Bhattacharya distance grows depending on the difference between the standard deviation. For probability distribution, P and Q over the same domain X, the Bhattacharya distance is defined as given on the screen. D of PQ minus log of BC PQ, where BC PQ is equal to sum of X belonging to X, P of X into Q of X is the Bhattacharya coefficient for discrete probability distributions. For continuous probability distribution, the Bhattacharya coefficient is given by integration of from 0 to infinity, and P of X, Q of X, D of X, or its limits are from 0 to 1 BC, or 0 is less than or equal to dB is less than or equal to infinity. dB does not obey the triangle inequality, but the Higler distance, which is given by 1 minus BC, PQ does obey the triangle inequality. And in the simplest formulation, the Bhattacharya distance between two classes under the normal distribution can be calculated by exerting the mean and variance of two separate distributions or classes. So the formula then will be 1/4 into log of 1/4 sigma square of P over sigma square of Q plus variance of Q over variance of P plus 2, where sigma square P is the variance of pth distribution and mu P is the mean of the pth distribution, and PQ are two different distributions. So we have a Bhattacharya coefficient, which is an approximate measure of the amount of the overlapping between two statistical samples. The coefficient can be used to determine the relative closeness of the two samples being considered. So calculating the Bhattacharya coefficient involves a rudimentary form of integration of the overlap of two samples. The interval of the values of two samples is split into a chosen number of partitions. So then its application, if we see the Bhattacharya bound application, so Bhattacharya distance is widely used in the research of feature exertion and selection image processing. A Bhattacharya space has been proposed for a feature selection technique that can be applied to texture segmentation. So this is all about the Bhattacharya bound, and there the proof on the screen is displayed. We will inshallah see it in the class, and we also see its application in discrete distribution and as well as in continuous distribution. So for continuous distribution, we have selected uniform distribution, and then for the discrete, we will select binomial or some other distribution. So this is all about the Bhattacharya bound. Now we will try also to see and discuss the sufficiency of the point estimator in the class. Now let's see what are the sufficient estimators. So in statistic is sufficient with respect to statistical model and its associated unknown parameter if no other statistic that can be calculated from the same sample provides any additional information as to the value of the parameter. So sufficient estimator mean and estimator of a parameter theta, which gives as much information about theta as is possible from the sample at hand, is called a sufficient estimator. Thus, sufficiency refers to how well an estimator utilizes the information in the sample relevant to the postulated statistical model. Question is how we can find out and calculate the sufficient statistic. A mathematical definition is as follows, which is on the screen. That a statistic T is a sufficient statistic if for each T the conditional distribution of the relevant samples x1, x2 up to xn given T is equal to T and theta does not depend on theta. As theorem is also relating with this concept that f of x1, x2 up to xn of theta is equal to u of x1, x2 up to xn into v of r of x1, x2, xn theta, where u and v are non-negative functions. Then question is sufficient statistic unbiased estimator or not? So any estimator of the form U is equal to H of T of a complete and sufficient statistic T is the unique unbiased estimator based on T of its expectation. Hence, if T is a complete and sufficient, U is equal to T of H is the minimum variance unbiased estimator of its expectation. Sufficient estimators are consistent. So an estimator theta n is consistent if it converges to theta in a suitable sense as n tends to infinity. An estimator theta for theta is sufficient if it contains all the information that we can exert from the random sample to estimate theta. Until now, we have been pulling our estimators out of the air. So the sufficient statistic means competency also, and sufficient statistic is a complete. If there are unbiased estimator, then there exists a unique minimum variance unbiased estimator that can also be characterized as the unique unbiased function of the complete sufficient statistic. So this is all about the sufficient statistic and our lecture third. And we will also find out this exponential family and some its examples relating to the discrete and continuous distributions. We selected the uniform distribution to see whether the distributions estimators are sufficient or not, and also the gamma distribution. We will see the theorems relating proof in the class, and we will also try to have some exercises on the whether the gamma both parameters are known, shown sum and product from a sufficient statistic or not, are uniform on theta 1, theta 2. We will try to find out two statistics that are sufficient, and Poisson or geometric distributions also are whether they are followed the sufficient statistic or not. So this is all about today's lecture, lecture number 3. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.